Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by my co host, T. T, how the hell are you today?
I'm doing all right.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah, we're coming at you a little early today. Figure, why are we going to sit around and wait until, 7, 8, right in the prime eating times for, most normal people when that's like prime go to bed time for us? But So we figured we'd come at you a little earlier today, talk some WWE, and let's just jump right into it. Riddle gonna face Roman Reigns this Friday night on SmackDown. A rare SmackDown title defense. In fact, I believe the last one was a year ago, Roman versus Rey Mysterio in a Hell in a Cell match. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe that's the last time Roman's defended the title on SmackDown.
This might become a trend.
Yeah, every summer we do one title defense on SmackDown. Now, first, I keep asking this, and I don't know if I'm ever really going to get the answer I want. Is the brand extension era dead?
I mean, it might as well be.
I mean, Riddle's a Raw superstar, wrestling the undisputed champion on an episode of SmackDown. I mean, to me, that screams end of the brand extension. And you've got the champion now just being one title holder, and you have that for both the men's championship and the tag team championships. Still have to unify the women's titles. Haven't heard anything officially about that. That would make a ton of sense for me to be at SummerSlam if they were going to do it. And man, Bianca Belair versus Ronda Rousey, Raw Women's Championship versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Let's just unify the belts, and I mean, and then you could then use those other women that you're not having vying for the title to compete in the tag team division. Hey, could we get that dream? Everybody all over the internet's talking about that dream booking of the tag team of Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan. It's because they're both hot blondes and everybody loves them. Like, let's be honest, like that's what it is. Hey, do you think that that's something they should look into? Just one women's champion and then the tag team champions, assuming we're going to get the belts from the now released Sasha Banks.
I mean, I guess they gotta do something with the women's tag team titles because they've been vacated for like what 3 weeks now or a month. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been about 3 weeks, which is about eternity in WWE time. Yeah, we had a pay per view, a Hell in a Cell pay per view where we had one Hell in a Cell match, and one of the participants had a torn, was it a torn pec or
Yeah, torn
torn pectoral?
pectoral
Yeah,
right off the bone,
yeah,
but that
very
didn't
gruesome
cut it.
injury. Which I have to be honest, I gotta believe. Let's approach everything. Let's try to do chronological order. So okay, Cody tore his pectoral muscle off the bone, and then like it's told, yeah, you're gonna have to have surgery on this, and so we should probably postpone that Hell in a Cell match. And he says, "Nah, screw that. I'm gonna compete in Hell in a Cell with a torn pec." And I gotta see a shirt that just says picture of Cody Rhodes or his nightmare logo. It says, "I beat Seth Rollins with a torn bleeping pectoral. Yeah, just like Kurt Angle won Olympic gold with a broken freaking neck. Yeah,
Yeah,
he beat Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell with a torn freaking pectoral.
they might as well capitalize on it.
Right? And the match itself, man, like I have to say, I was like uncomfortable at times, but I kind of dig it. Like when I say I'm uncomfortable, I mean like you have to do something to make a fan like me or you that like we know it's a work. Like they're not really out there fighting each other. It's a show that they're putting on. You have to do something to make us invested. That made me feel invested, and I have to say like that moment that afterwards, the after the match and the next night on Raw, when Seth Rollins is in the ring and when Seth, and I do believe this was an unscripted thing that he said this to Cody when he said the American Dream is proud of his baby boy. Like and you could tell the way that tugged on the heartstrings of Cody. And I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
definitely added. So like, you thought Seth was finally gonna leave it alone and be the end of it, and then
it was
boom.
it was funny because as Cody's walking down the ramp, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just like, you know, he's going out for surgery anyway. Like the cool heel move to do here would be draw that great heartwarming moment. It kind of kills Seth's heat. Like just have Seth come out and attack Cody Rhodes and just nail him from behind. It'd be great. And I loved it. Like, and you know me, I'm a big Cody Rhodes fan. I'm also a big Seth Rollins fan. Big, and Seth just he's killing it, doing great. He's doing heel work. He's doing Seth Rollins things right now, man. Like only Seth could turn three straight losses to Cody on pay per view into a win for him. Like only Seth Rollins could do that. So where do we go from here for Seth Rollins?
You know what? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure down the line when Cody's back, we'll have Seth and Cody part 4.
You know what would be perfect? Seth wins Money in the Bank. Seth cashes in and wins the championship. Cody wins the Royal Rumble. Cody, Seth for WrestleMania. No, I don't actually want that, guys. I actually want Cody versus either Roman or, well, my idea was Edge. What are your thoughts now on the bloodline and their situation, I guess? We can ease off of like we can let Cody Rhodes thing go. We'll circle back to that, but I want to talk some about the Edge being kicked out of the Judgment Day, and because he was the guy I thought in my head, oh geez, you could have Edge win Money in the Bank, and then Drew McIntyre win the title at the British pay per view in September. And then Drew McIntyre defends, say, against Roman, at in October, and maybe again at Survivor Series. Do something different, like maybe a Fatal 4-Way TLC match at our namesakes pay per view, and that would be when Edge would cash in Money in the Bank and become the WWE Universal Champion, and then he'd carry that into WrestleMania season. Cody would win the Royal Rumble. Cody and Edge for the championship at WrestleMania. I suppose you could do the same thing with Finn Balor. I think that would be fun,
That would be nice to get Finn
right?
back in the world title picture.
Exactly, and let Finn cash in on Drew. And oh my goodness, well, they're both British superstars, Finn and Drew. What if you had Drew McIntyre win the WWE World Championship, only to have Finn Balor cash in at Carnage at the Castle, and Finn Balor walks out as your WWE Universal Champion?
That could happen.
Right? I think that would be a hell of a way to cap off the summer. It'll be Labor Day weekend. What is that? Saturday, September 3rd? Or is that
I
Friday?
don't think so. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Saturday, the weekend of Labor Day weekend, which thankfully for yours truly, who will have to work on Labor Day, it's not on a Sunday. It'll be like on a Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something. It's gonna be fantastic. I can't wait.
That's right. Different countries have different times. Forgot about that.
Yep, a different time zone. And Britain is what 5 hours ahead of us. So if like they do like 1, 2 o'clock there, that's what 7 or 8 there. You remember now if it's 5 or 6 hours. This is easy enough to find out. I can use the old Google machine and figure out time in London. All right, time. No, not Took. Time in time in London. There we go. It is right now almost 9 o'clock, so that is what 5 hours ahead of us. All right. So if they were to start the show at say 2 o'clock, that's 7 o'clock there. I'd be okay with that, right? Well,
Sure.
depending on if you're off. I'll be. I know I'll be off, but
Eh, I can just catch the replay.
yeah, that's true. Which
Although,
hopefully by then we'll have the technology available to us here in the simple United States of being able to start a show from the beginning on Peacock and not have to wait for it to become available on a replay.
those were good times when we could do that.
That still infuriates me that like they went to a different service and the technology went backwards. Like, what did you forget how to do that? Like
Wow.
that is infuriating to me. The fact that we can't do that, that we can't start from the beginning, we can't pause on a live show. Like that's another thing. Like we should be able to pause it.
I guess they want to give you that authentic pay per view feeling, even though they're premium live events now.
Yeah, why did it take them like 4 years or 5 years to come up with that? That I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, you got to call it something different than pay per view, because basically every pay per view you were advertising to people, hey, don't watch it on pay per view, watch it on the network. It's called a pay per view, so the premium live event is a much better tagline, I think, for that. Which, speaking of premium live events, I wanted to talk about one of my personal old favorites, the King of the Ring. And I know I've pitched the idea on here before of the 64 man WWE King of the Ring tournament, a la March Madness style. Like any college basketball fan, like you'd love seeing the brackets on the screen. And it would always kind of make me, it would give me the feel of March Madness. And I would think, man, could they ever like blow this up and do a huge tournament out of this? And how cool would it be? You have the Royal Rumble, which gives you your headliner for WrestleMania. What if you had the King of the Ring tournament give you your headliner for SummerSlam?
Or they could even also bring back the King of the Ring pay-per-view.
Oh, I would love it.
You can get rid of like one of those lesser, not needed PLEs.
And the thing is, like, I told you I'm not a fan of the gimmick PLEs. Um, I am more of a fan of the, like, give me Backlash before you give me an Extreme Rules or Hell in a Cell. Like, to me, the only ones that you absolutely need the gimmick event is the Royal Rumble and Survivor Series because they're part of your core four, and like, go for it. I believe 100% in those gimmicks. The Hell in a Cell pay per view. I don't need you to tell me when like don't manufacture a rivalry that doesn't belong there. Like Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy had to have had one of the worst um, which one Hell in a Cell matches I've ever seen. And like that rivalry was pushed in there because it was like, hey, wait, this is probably the hottest rivalry we have right now, even though I would argue nobody cared about that rivalry. Um, hey, they've got like the best rivalry going right now. We've got to put them in Hell in a Cell. No, you don't. No, you don't. Put whatever rivalry you think is the best rivalry in the like. To me, like it's rare that a rivalry reaches that level, at least anymore, because they don't do enough with the rivalries to put them there. Um, someone asked me recently what was the last rivalry I felt like belonged inside Hell in a Cell, and my answer was Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. And they had a Hell in a Cell match, and it was a pretty good one. And then they had a match after that. Like to me, like the Hell in a Cell has to be the big blowout. Like that has to be the ultimate like send off to a rivalry. And like it blew my mind that like we had you had the Hell in a Cell pay per view and only one Hell in a Cell match. And typically you'd have two or three. And like I'm sure the plan was probably Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte one last time if Charlotte hadn't gotten injured. And just like I'm sure the plan was probably Roman Reigns to defend the WWE Universal title inside Hell in a Cell, but instead they had the stupid 6-man tag instead of the tag team unification match, which would have also made sense to be another Hell in a Cell match. But what do I know?
Yeah, it would have been nice if they had at least one more Hell in a Cell. Like,
Right. You know what Hell in a Cell reminded me of? Like, and you probably these probably came before your time or before you were really able to watch. But like, if you ever watch the old WCW pay per views, like '97, yeah, I think it was '97, yeah, '97 Uncensored or Fall Brawl. Both of them, like they had one match and it was like this is the epic match. Like Uncensored was the team concept 4-on-4 an elimination match, Team WCW, Team NWO, and Team Piper. And so like that was their main attraction match. The rest of the pay-per-view was hot garbage. Like, I mean, it was stuff they just kind of threw together last second. Oh yeah, we'll have Prince Iaukea versus Rey Mysterio in a world television title match. And honestly, the rest of the pay-per-view, I couldn't tell you one blessed thing about it. Like, not one meaningful match, not one great storyline, nothing came out of it. Except they had that one kick-ass. Oh, maybe Eddie Guerrero versus Dean Malenko. That I think that happened at that event. Yeah, so that was a good match too. That kicked off the show, and then it was a collection of nothing before you got to the main event. That's what I felt like Hell in a Cell was. It was a collection of nothing until we got to the main event. Like, is there one match on there that had any like big meaning?
Well, the opening match with the triple threat women's title match was good.
It
Other than
was good.
that,
Like, okay, would you think that outranks Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero for the U.S. title? Like, just knowing those names, does that outrank to you the like, or which one would you take? Oh, which one is better in your mind?
um, well, I
Now
haven't.
again, I'm assuming you haven't watched that Dean Malenko Eddie Guerrero match, which maybe is
I
a good
have,
idea to have you watch that uh, from Uncensored '97 in our next homework assignment.
I have not seen that.
I should have watched that pay per view. It well, okay. With the exception of the opening match and the main event, maybe I'll just have you watch those two matches, and you can just fast forward the other hot garbage matches. I will say one tidbit from that pay per view: Steve McMichael did a really good job at storytelling. And when I say that is in the promo that they did, Steve McMichael was getting ready to like he was on Team Piper, and he talked about something that had happened back in like this was in like I think March. He talked about something that had happened in September, and I thought, way to bring that story back around. Like this was back when NWO was just running out there beating up on everybody, and like it didn't really seem to have much meaning or purpose. But McMichael brings up, oh yeah, I remember you guys in whatever town they were in. He's like, you posted me, you wrote NWO on my back, and I got a receipt for you. And I thought, finally, we're coming full circle. Telling a story. There we go. And but then of course WCW did nothing with it and did not have that at all even mentioned again throughout the entire telecast. And that great bit of storytelling by McMichael was, you know, completely useless. But yeah, so my point being that Hell in a Cell, the event, was garbage. Like it just was. I guess that was a long-winded way of saying that.
And most of those matches just could have took place on Raw. And speaking of which, why was most of those matches from the Raw roster?
Oh
The
no, it was like 90% Raw.
only SmackDown representation was the Happy Corbin Madcap Moss match.
You're right. That was pretty much a Raw exclusive.
Are we going back to that now? Raw pay per views, SmackDown pay per views.
You know what's better than one meaningless pay per view a month? Two meaningless pay per views a month. Ooh, please let me have payback pay per views again, and Backlash in September because we can't think of another name to use.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was fun having. There were two Backlash pay-per-views that year because the month after, yeah, in it was like late April or early May, and then in September, what was that, 2016? I think, yeah, 2016, where they had two Backlash pay-per-views.
Wait, what?
They had oh wait, no, was that, yeah, that was when they still had the Payback and which one? Payback and Extreme Rules were in May and June. And then Money in the Bank July. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I stand corrected, WWE.
Mhm.
Yeah, you didn't botch that one. Good job. But I mean, like if we look back, and I know one of my main points about this has always been the brand extension being dead. Like, was it any good? Did the brand era do anything good?
Mm, hold on. I mean, originally they like there was more belts or more opportunities, but that didn't go as planned, really.
No, considering so much of the roster is now gone. Like the roster is just like when you look at the people that have been released versus the people they brought in, like it's not even close. Like they've released so many more people than they brought in. Of course, some people have their speculations on reasons for some releases, like maybe for budget cuts to pay off a an alleged mistress of Mr. McMahon.
Oh boy.
First up, do you believe any of that? Because I have a hard time believing that that's what's going on here.
I mean, if that is the case, then that's kind of effed up
Yeah,
entirely. To fire 60 plus people just to pay off some woman to stop talking about an affair. I mean,
I mean I don't think there's any truth to that. It's Sable, isn't it? It's got to be Sable. That's the reason why she's not in the Hall of Fame. They're afraid she'll talk at her induction.
she's not in the Hall of Fame.
No, Sable has not been inducted in the Hall of Fame. By the way, also the wife of Brock Lesnar.
Huh, that is odd.
Yeah, well, I know she's not on good terms with the company, yet somehow Brock remains on great terms with the company.
Well, they pay him like $6 million a night.
You know,
I'd be on good terms too.
yeah, the whole "we treated your wife like a mule." Yeah, we'll make up for that by just making you work like once a millennium. And so, how many appearances do I need to do this year? 5. Wait, five? Like 5 matches? No, just 5 appearances. Like he shows up at the end of Raw, does his grabs the ropes and freaks out. Rah! Yep, there's $5 million. You like the way he grabbed the ropes there? That's awesome. That's $5 million. Congratulations. Why do I hate this guy? He's living my dream. Maybe that's why, though. Because I'm not doing it. He's living the dream. He's living my dream. My dream now, guys, everybody now, my goal, make as much money as Brock Lesnar by doing less. Just show up and suplex people. Suplex City, bitch. Which did you ever read the article about Dean Ambrose and him, like Dean Ambrose freaking out about the fact that like he wanted to talk to Brock Lesnar about what he wanted to do during their match, and when he finally got a hold of Brock Lesnar in Dallas, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm thinking I'll bring in these weapons. I'll do all this. I'll do that." And Brock was looking at him like, "Dude, we ain't reinventing the wheel, cuz." Like, I'll take you to Suplex City. You mount a comeback, use some of your weapons. F5, we go home. I'm just like, well, I mean, if it ain't broke, why try and fix it? But Ambrose even said to him, like, dude, I'll take all the bumps. Like, just let me use the stuff.
And the weeks building up to that, where they had all the build up, had like
But yeah. Yeah, Mick Foley hands him the barbecue barbed wire baseball. Wow, that's the case where one simple word can screw up the whole thing. Barbed wire covered baseball bat, not barbecue. he's, he's not going to try to eat the bat. Maybe Brock would have gone for a covered baseball bat because he'd have eaten that. But yeah, everything else that he did in that build up, like I thought, oh man, that match has the potential to be something special, and it just wasn't.
yeah, that match was a big letdown.
Yes, yes, it was. Um, do you think Money in the Bank this year can deliver what they needed to?
uh, if they pick good winners, sure.
I mean, right now, all we have is Liv Morgan, Alexa Bliss, and who's the other woman? Oh yeah, Lacey Evans in Money in the Bank.
All right, three hot blondes.
Yeah, what could go wrong? Three hot blondes who never seem to get hit. Now, I will say, Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss do a heck of a lot more than Lacey Evans ever has. I mean, her biggest claim to fame was announcing she was pregnant in the ring and having Ric Flair celebrate like he just won the Super Bowl. Even though then they had to basically walk that back the next week and have Ric Flair acknowledge that that wasn't his kid.
uh, that wasn't awkward.
Yeah, that was brutal. Which meant that had to be so weird. Like, when Lacey Evans goes to WWE and says, "Hey guys, I'm pregnant. What are we gonna do?" And they're like, "Oh, I know. Let's have you go out. Let's have this set up for this match. You go out there, and then you grab the microphone and tell Charlotte she's not gonna hit you because you're pregnant." And like, because I immediately thought, I'm like, okay, this is BS. Like, at some point she's gonna get hit. She's gonna fall over, and it's gonna be a miscarriage. Like Terry Runnels' pregnancy um, back in the Attitude Era, when she was sleeping with Val Venus, who supposedly had a vasectomy. Which That
Uh,
was what it was. At least they didn't have her go through and deliver a hand.
the late 90s was a weird place.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we had a woman give birth to a hand. Yeah, that's right, guys. Go YouTube that. Yeah, May Young gives birth to a hand. You're welcome, YouTubers.
And well, I don't really want to take it this direction, but
You know what? What the hell? We're already off the rails.
with Mark Henry being the father, that hand was kind of not matching up
Oh no.
color wise.
Oh jeez. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it was. Oh man, there was something promiscuous going on. There was something afoot. Well,
uh,
hadn't May Young already gone through menopause like twice at that point? That was my other argument. Like, wait, you're telling me 97-year-old May Young's not been through menopause? The woman literally remembers the Alamo, and you're going to tell me she's. Anyway, that was the other hole in that whole storyline. Aside from the fact that, okay, Mark Henry getting a woman pregnant, not a big stretch. Getting 97-year-old May Young pregnant with a white person's hand. Like, who sat around and creative and said, like, and here's the thing, if you couldn't do that now, if you did that now, there would be a parade of just every activist group and all the fans like, what the hell, man? We wanted to pay off to our storyline of the Mae Young pregnancy, and we giving birth to a goddamn hand. Are you kidding me? But since it was the '90s, screw it. Who cares? We all got a good chuckle out of it, and and 20 years later, or like 15 years later, you see this like teenager come out with like a hand costume on, like waving around. Hey guys, it's me. I'm all grown up.
well, at least we got some closure.
Yeah, just like the closure we got of the anonymous general manager when we
Uh,
found Hornswoggle. Which I thought it was the dumbest thing in the world when Edge started feuding with that anonymous general manager computer, and when he beat the hell out of a computer. Although I wanted him to go full on power bomb it through a table, but you know,
I should have gave it a concerto.
didn't he?
I don't remember.
I feel like he might have.
Well, hopefully he did.
Oh God. There's more YouTube gold for everybody. YouTube Edge delivers concerto to computer. Yes, that really happened, guys. I feel like we could have a whole episode in which we just talk about, yeah, that shit happened.
Oh, there's so many.
Maybe end of year we'll have our that shit happened moment of the year. Like Rey Mysterio loses his eye, yet some, and then gets murdered. He, along with Aleister Black, were thrown off the top of Titan Towers during the Money in the Bank ladder match. The two were straight up murdered. And just nobody talked about it. It just, blew right over. And then they were back out competing the next night on Raw. I'm like, wait, what the hell? Those two were murdered.
And I don't think Baron Corbin got any type of punishment.
He certainly did not. If ever there was a time for bum ass Corbin, that would have been it. Jailbird Corbin. Document Corbin on trial for the murder of Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black. Of course, they tried to cover it up and say, "Oh yeah, they got thrown onto like a smaller tower that was nearby." Still, no bruises, nothing. Which, by the way, that match I would say is very rewatchable. Very entertaining, that match. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles fighting into Mr. McMahon's office with the dinosaur head onto the wall, and they both stop and look at it like, dude, there's actually a dinosaur head there. And then Mr. McMahon, what are you doing in here? Get the hell out of my office. And the two of them just calmly walking out of the office. Or how about Dana Brooke grabbing the contract that they had, like the display model they had in one of the little offices? That match was freaking incredible. And I think they had both the men's and women's matches happening at the same damn time. Like, you ever talk about information overload?
And who the hell's idea was it to even? They're just like, hey, let's put ladders on the roof of our building. We'll put the briefcases up there. And
I mean, it was actually kind of brilliant. Like, I remember that year being legit excited for Money in the Bank. Of course, and then we have Otis win it.
That went nowhere.
Yeah, he ended up losing the contract to The Miz, and The Miz cashes it in and holds the belt for about a week before losing to Lashley. But that's something we should talk about. We got Money in the Bank coming up here in a couple weeks. What's your favorite cash in?
It'd have to be either. Actually, no, it'd have to be the heist of the century.
Yeah, that really is the best one. Okay, disqualifying heist of the century. What's number 2?
Probably Dolph Ziggler's cash in.
That was going to be my number 2.
I mean, those are the biggest ones.
Yeah, they are the biggest ones. They're the ones that surrounded WrestleMania. Whether it be at WrestleMania or the night after WrestleMania. I think Daniel Bryan's cash in on Mark Henry, or was it Mark Henry or the Big Show? I think it might have actually been the Big Show.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, his cash in was really cool because he had come out and talked about that he was going to wait and cash in at WrestleMania, and then he comes out at TLC and cashes in. So his was really cool. I'll tell you an underrated one: Sheamus cashing in on Roman Reigns. Sheamus 515.
I mean, sure.
That might be the most underrated one. Of course, the dumbest ones are the ones that failed. The was it 3 that I know of that failed. John Cena was the first one to fail because he announced it like a dumbass. And even if he wasn't going to do the whole cash in on a beat up champion, if he just showed up on Raw 1000 and just said, I'm thinking tonight we have a WWE Championship match, John Cena versus CM Punk. Boom, right there. There you go. Let's go. But yeah, that one, although that one makes a lot of sense. Like I understood why they didn't have John Cena win. Then Corbin didn't make any sense, and neither did Sandow.
Yeah,
Like
they should
Sandow,
have had both of them win.
yeah,
Like they're up and coming guys. Like, come on. Too Money in the Bank's made for mid Carter that needs that push
that
up.
needs that extra push. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like both of those guys should have won the title. And Corbin, like if Corbin were to win this time, like if Corbin were to end up qualifying and then winning Money in the Bank, he has to win the championship this time. Like he absolutely has to. Because if he doesn't do it this time, then he just never gets to be champion.
Unless they want to use that opportunity, have him win Money in the Bank and then lose again. They can revert back to broke Corbin.
Yeah, bum ass Corbin. Yeah.
Although that'd be a lot of wasted time and resources to do that.
Yeah, but wouldn't surprise you, would it?
Yeah, true.
Okay, so our homework assignments for this week are going to be some Money in the Bank, either ladder matches or cash ins. Or why don't we do both? Why don't we do a Money in the Bank ladder match and then you have to watch that person's cash in? So I will give you the entire plethora of Money in the Bank ladder matches and cash ins. You choose the one you want me to watch.
Uh, hmm. I guess I'll go with the original, the first Money in the Bank match,
Okay.
which then had Edge cash in at New Year's Revolution.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That works for me. In fact, I'll probably watch the entire match leading up to the cash in as well. So, all right. So for you, I will go with. Ooh, let's see. That's a good one. I kind of want to go with one of the CM Punk ones. I'm thinking the second one. I'm thinking the WrestleMania 24 win, and then the cash in on Jeff Hardy at Extreme Rules.
Alright.
All right. All right. Well, we each have our assignments. Is there anything else? Anything to add tonight before we get out of here?
Um, did Vince really do it? Or is this all some stupid storyline?
It would actually kind of be something if it was just a storyline.
This is WWE. They could work anything into a storyline.
Yeah, seriously, they really could. Well, all right, everybody. That's all the time we have for today. I hope everybody has a great evening, a great weekend, a great week, and until next time, happy wrestling, everybody.
See ya.